All right, ladies and gentlemen. What I want to talk to you guys today about is I'm gonna make this video kind of a little bit more of like talking about economics, but I'm also talking about politics a little bit here in this video. So try to keep things to this point of the video. Um, So I'm gonna try to put this video onto my other YouTube channel called Absolute Sales and Marketing, which is a business-based channel. Uh, I want to talk about business on that channel a little bit, but this video can go along with that channel. But this video can also go along with my regular YouTube channel. Um, my point is today is uh, there's been a lot of controversy over um, the McDonald's fight for 15, which means that there's been a lot of people wanting to fight for employees and future employees who want to apply for McDonald's at and get paid $15 an hour. And I'm going to talk to you guys from my experience because I'm a former McDonald's an employee. Um, I worked at McDonald's for 2.5 years. Well, yeah, just about 2.5 years. Yes. Um, I got hired in March of 2017 and did not quit until let's see here. I quit in July of 2019, and so during my time there, my first starting pay was $8.25 an hour here in Bloomington, Indiana, Monroe County, for example. The federal minimum wage at the time was $7.25 an hour, so I was getting paid $1 more per hour than the federal minimum wage. So my experience was prior to that, I used to work at Taco Bell, getting paid $8 an hour when I quit there in 2015. Um, then when I started at Taco Bell, I was getting paid $7.50 an hour. Back when the minimum wage was still $7.25 an hour at that time. Back in 2014. So the my controversy of this is that the federal minimum wage, I believe, is still $7.25 an hour. Now, what I'm looking at is you got all these people who are on federal unemployment getting approximately combined with state and federal unemployment, they're getting approximately like $300 a week, if not more, money per week to be on unemployment at this current time because of the COVID pandemic. So, a lot of employers are out there giving incentives for people to come to work for them by raising the starting pay to uh, to $12 an hour, all the way up to $15 an hour to start working. And McDonald's here in Bloomington is started employees out at $12 an hour. Now, a lot of other ones are employing people at $15 an hour now. Now, the fight for 15 has been going on for nearly about 10 years, I believe. Maybe longer than that. I don't know. I believe it's been going on for at least 10 years because I remember even back in 2017 that they were talking about this as well, that they were angry because People were not be able to live off of 7.25 an hour times 40 hours a week at the maximum. And with McDonald's, though, they would get angry. Quite frankly, they would get angry at the managers and the employees and try and take it out on the employees for working overtime. Um, so that I just don't look at it as like it's the right thing to do is to take out on the employees for running overtime, and taking it out on the managers for, because overtime has happened because the not enough employees to run the whole restaurant during those shifts. Um, and quite frankly, that's happened before with the shifts I've worked on. Where we would need like 7 people, but only running the shift like five or four people at the minimum. And I even looked at sometimes we've had only 3 employees and the manager, so there was only like 4 of us total overall. So it was really in a bad shape at that point. So what I'm saying here about the fight for 15 is my opinion on it, and my analysis from a business perspective is this. And I know people are going to be angry at me and think that I should be more empathetic and understanding because I've worked at McDonald's for 2.5 years nearly. And, you know, what I feel like I should have been paid more than the 10.50 that I was getting paid during the time that I got paid 10.50 an hour at the last 6 months prior to me quitting. Um, so uh, at that time, my my opinion was like I thought this was what I was getting paid at that time was Gucci, because of the kind of condition of my life was at the time. I didn't have any other kinds of goals or any kind of dreams or any kind of job, work ethics or anything at the time. I didn't have any kind of employers that I was really looking into at the time, and I was just kind of just stuck at that point. I thought it was Gucci, as good as it was going to get for me at that moment until I've got the position that I've got now where I'm making nearly close to $50,000 a year now. And I'm really thankful that I'm, making nearly $50,000 a year doing what I'm doing now, which is driving a truck for a living. And I love truck driving. It's very rewarding. So, do I think that these people should be getting paid, $15 an hour that are high school dropouts, and some of them have their GED, some do have their GED, some people do have their high school diploma, and some people do have college education um, that are working at McDonald's or that will soon be working at McDonald's because they're can't really find a job that is hiring for them at that moment, and they just need some sort of work. Um, I think that no, people shouldn't be getting paid $15 an hour, to work at McDonald's. That's just the way I see it from a very conservative perspective, very conservative Republican perspective. I am a Republican. I do believe in Republican conservative values. And when it comes to that, I don't really think that a person, should be getting paid that much per hour. That to work a job that it was originally set up for people who are like, going to college or in the process of getting their high school diploma. Um, yeah, I could understand if you had just graduated college and stuff, and you had a bunch of credentials and stuff, and you wanted to get paid $15 an hour, um, as a job, I can understand that. If you could prove beyond a reasonable doubt that you have graduated college and you have certain kinds of credentials, I can see an employer paying you $15 an hour to do whatever it may be, if not even more per hour, depending on what it is you're going to do. But as far as McDonald's is concerned, I think that a very liberal amount of money at the most for a starting employee that doesn't have their high school diploma or GED, or they're in high school and are like 16 years old and they're working part time while going to school, should be um, right around 9.50 an hour. I would say is about the most that you should be getting paid to work at McDonald's, and that is just being very liberal on the amount that an employer should be paying a McDonald's employer. I mean, an employee. The employer paying the employee $15 an hour is just way too much, and I think that 9.50 is a fair amount, very fair amount. I think that to be quite honest, I hear a lot of the people saying to me like that they don't get paid enough to do certain tasks, and even at McDonald's, when I would ask a this kid, and I'm gonna say he's a kid because he's 19 years old. He's a black guy, and I said, you need to go ahead and try to clean the grill. And he said, man, he says, nah, man, I don't get paid enough to do that. I can only make 9.50 an hour. So if I do that, I'll get burnt. And I said, well, there's actually a lot of other people way before him that were making only 6.25 an hour back in the day when I was working at Wendy's, that would go ahead and clean the grill, the old grills that they had, not the press grills or the I'm talking about the grills where you actually had to flip the burgers by hand. And I used to do that myself, getting paid only $7 an hour back in the day to flip burgers, by hand, with an old spatula. So I done that for quite some time, doing that. And $7 an hour back then was Gucci to me at the time. But that was back, 2007, so it was quite a while ago. And people back then had no problem cleaning the grills for 6.25 an hour, you know, and they did it. They learned to accept it and take it as is. You got this kid who's 19 years old, as of like a couple of years ago. He was like saying, "Nah, man, I don't get paid enough to do that. I only get paid 9.50 an hour. I'll get burnt." Well, not gonna really go too much further into what he had to say about that. But what I do have to say is the economy is shifted into a very bad, very liberal kind of position where um, Biden has given the American people more stimulus money to allow them to sit on their butt and to live off the government. And I look at it this way, that a lot of businesses are struggling right now because they've got these positions that they need to have filled, and they can't fill them because the liberal people in the government, Democrats, are, like, say Biden, for example, is pushing more money for unemployment so that people can be like getting $400, 300, $300 to $400, if not even more money per week to sit on their butt and collect a check from the government. And so when it's all said and done, nobody really wants to go and work for less than $300 a week at 40 hours a week for less than $300 a week, to have to stand on their feet and flip burgers or whatever that may be, and when they can sit at home and watch their kids and go play in the park or go to out to Burger King, get some Whoppers and feed their kids junk food and stuff like that. I just don't really think that America is really going into a good direction by enabling people to be lazy. And I hate laziness. I have to tell you that I work really hard for my money, and so I just absolutely hate laziness. And if you're going to be lazy, I just really just don't think that there's much hope for you if you want to choose to continue to be lazy. So my analysis on this is that people have to start really getting real. And what I mean by that is they're going to have to learn to accept the fact that as if I was an employer and you're coming into my company and you have, like, say, no GED or high school diploma, and you want me to, and, and I'm hiring everybody from people who have no GED all the way up to college graduates and master's degree level people, and you're coming into my company for a job. Here's what I'm gonna look at as an employer. If you don't have a high school diploma or GED, I'm gonna be like, I'm sorry, I don't see a future of me paying you any more than $9.50 an hour. That's just the way I'm gonna look at it. When I can pay the same dude who has a master's degree, um, 13.50 to 15.50 an hour to do the same job that I'm hiring you in at. The reason why I would hire him and pay him more is because, quite frankly, he has a master's degree and you have no GED. So that's the way I would look at it. Exactly the way I would look at it. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, poor thing, you don't have no GED, but you got 5 kids at home. I'm sorry that you have 5 kids at home. There's nothing I can do about that. You're gonna have to learn how to balance a home budget on $9.50 an hour and feed your kids on $9.50 an hour, whether you have 2 kids or 5 kids. Don't really care. That is your problem as to why you didn't go and get your GED or high school diploma, why you don't have a college education. But the guy who's got no kids and a master's degree, yes, he's going to be getting paid $15.50 an hour. That's just the way the game's going to work. That's the way it is. More education, more money. That's all there is to it. So I guess, well, I'm gonna wrap this video up real quick here before it gets way too long and try to keep it, precise. And my opinion is, and bottom line is, I just don't really see it as an awesome thing to have, managers at McDonald's, be paying these people $15 an hour. I really just don't see it that way. So, all right, you guys signing off. I'm signing off too. Thank you. Bye.